friends would go, "Hey, dude, you have all the equipment. Why don't you do our whole video? What are you going to pay me? Well, can you do it as a favor?" And it's like, you get sick of that shit after a while.
Sure do. God, you get sick of that.
Says what he wants, but he's so contradicting. He's a man of conviction, but he's never been convicted.
Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show, everybody. I'm your host, Matthew Gossin. And yeah, it's been a while. I know. It's the middle of June, 2021. The mask mandate has been lifted in California. And things are seemingly back to normal. I ate at one of my favorite diners, Nat's Early Bite, here in Van Nuys, with, well, the waiters and waitresses and staff, I guess, had masks on, but nobody else did. It was kind of cool. Didn't feel unsafe at all. Anyway. So I've ditched the website for manofconvictionpodcast.com, and I've migrated it over to editormatthew.com. Editor Matthew with 2 T's.com. So that's where you'll find the latest stuff. Today on the show, Mr. Kurt Mason, musician, editor, golfer, and a cool dude. Kurt and I met, as he reminded me, back at Video Symphony when he was teaching, and I gave a brief talk about being an editor. We talk about everything. We talk about music, talk about life. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the first 2021 episode of Man of Conviction. Glad to be back. Okay, so I am here with Kurt Mason, right? Would you say your primary job as an editor?
Yep, I edit. That's my main drive, but I'm pretty much a Swiss Army knife because I always like, oh, I want to see what this guy's doing. And cool, so how do you do that? I'm always asking questions, basically.
Always want to learn.
Yep.
Yeah, me too, man. Me too. We first met back at Video Symphony.
Correct.
You were teaching back there, those kids how to edit.
Yep, exactly.
And I know a guy named Steve Farmelo who I guess briefly was like helping out at that place, and he said, "Hey, I know this editor who can come in and do our pizza and post night," or whatever it was called. And I said,
Oh, cool. It was good that he got you.
yeah, and so that was so fun. I prepared a little reel of stuff and kind of gave a talk, and actually asked Tonight Show writers to help me write some jokes.
Really?
Yeah,
That's
they
cool.
they wrote some jokes for me, so that was cool.
Did you?
Yeah, I used them.
And they worked?
Yeah, they worked. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Timing's hard.
It is hard. it got you, no kidding. So, you have a past as a musician, do you not?
I wouldn't say I started doing music because when I was 8 years old, I was way into cameras and I started making movies with 8mm cameras. And I thought, wow, I'm a shy kid, so this is a perfect way to meet girls because they can be in my movie. So I had a plan, but I was really making movies. I was like writing little scripts, and the scripts sucked, but it was cool.
And casting the cute girls in the neighborhood.
Yeah. If it wasn't for that, I wouldn't have met this girl I really wanted, Lynn Haywood. So I hired her. Well, didn't pay her, but I'm like, you want to be in a movie? It'll be really cool. You'll be a spy. Made her part out to be really cool. So she's like, yeah, okay. He's not like coming on to me or anything. So it was all about that, just, making these movies and stuff. But then as I got more into it, I'm like going, oh, God, about the age of 13, 14, I'm like going, music's so cool. God, if I could be a musician. So I tried to play guitar and my fingers literally bled. So I'm like, okay, guitar isn't for me, I guess, but what about bass? Because the strings are bigger and I can handle that. And my fingers got really calloused. And as I learned to play bass and started doing that, I'm like, cool. And that's what got us to move out to LA. We're like, we can't do it here. We've been playing all these clubs. I was playing clubs before I was out of high school. I had really good fake ID, and especially in a Mormon kind of community. I grew up in Salt Lake City, Utah.
Okay.
It's like, okay, well, I have this friend that has, he's 21. I could go to the police station and get a work card, and then I have solid ID. They'll think I'm 21, but it was ballsy going to the police station to get ID, to work these clubs. But once I got it, it was like ironclad. I looked like I was 12, but they're like going, well, you got great ID, so all right, you're the bass player of this band. Come on in.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, and then we moved out here to do music, and that, we did it for a while here, just in different bands, Joker, Mime Choir, and played all the strip clubs, the clubs on the strip,
Right.
I guess you'd say.
Right.
But it was fun, but we were trying to make it, and I just, at one point, I'm just go, God, it's just not going to happen. We put our heart and soul into this, so I moved on to, my wife goes, well, don't you like movies, making movies? You could be an editor. And I'm like, well, yeah, I kind of edited a little bit in the 90s on digital stuff, but it wasn't up to par yet. It was like, this is kind of hard to do. I'd rather do it on film.
Yeah.
Actually went to Video Symphony and learned my chops on Avid anyway. And it's like, this is cool. And I got fast at it really quick, and they offered, hey, you want to teach it? And I'm like, well, shit, I'm doing all these little gigs and stuff on it, but they aren't paying a lot. And I was doing like music videos and stuff, and basically all the big, companies weren't putting a lot of budgets into their I was cutting these for like $1,000, and I'd work on it for 2 weeks, and I'm like, that's not that good.
Yeah.
And friends would go, hey, dude, you have all the equipment. Why don't you do our whole video? What are you going to pay me? Well, can you do it as a favor? And it's like, you get sick of that shit after a while.
Sure do. God, you get sick of that.
It's just like, I'm putting my heart and soul into this. You guys don't even care about the concept. And I'm putting all that into this, and you're not paying me? Really? So it's rough being an editor, but it's even tougher being a musician.
I can't do those gigs anymore where it's like, here, we got to cut 10 videos, and I don't know, you could probably do one a day. We're going to pay you this much per video. And it's like,
right.
What, hourly or daily, or I can't do it.
Yeah. Hourly has to be hourly.
Yeah.
And you can even work them a deal. Look, I'll do the finishing for cheaper, but if you want me to do that, it's better when you hand it off to someone else that's better at that or whatever.
For sure.
But I'm not really a color corrector. I learned to teach color correcting, but I never got really good at it, where I could, this just needs that, so I like the creative part a little better.
You got to have the scopes and the calibrated monitor and all that.
And the room.
Yeah.
And the color of the wall. Oh, it's not the right color gray. So.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. That's a very specific art, but there are guys that are good at it and make a whole bunch of money doing that.
Oh, indeed.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the manipulation of just digital everything. It's just exponentially getting the past 20 years, how far it's come.
I don't know if I would have been an editor if I had to do it all manually with and they used to have more women do it, which it's like, really? Because it was harder back then.
Yeah, actually, yeah, that's right. There were a lot of women editors over the years. Yeah.
Good ones.
Yep. Thelma Schumacher.
Oh, yeah.
Thelma. Legendary.
Yep. Amen.
Yeah. Wow. So Salt Lake City.
Yeah.
Did you have like a strict Mormon upbringing that you got the hell out of, or
as
do you still?
As a matter of fact, my dad was a bishop, 6 kids, so I was the youngest of 6, and it was really, I tried to be, to respect the religion and treat my sisters and brothers, like, okay, well, they can have their religion, but once they just keep drumming it into you, and you're just like, I'm not that person.
Yeah.
I tried to get out of this for a long time, and, I don't believe in it like you guys do, but I'm not going to say you're wrong, because I can't really do that. Who knows where you go when you die, and I hope it's somewhere good, but it was hard getting out of it. When we were playing clubs, it's like, oh, we're doing it because of the music. But really, that was my people.
Right.
People I related with more and could talk to on a normal level and get to their soul in seconds rather than, oh, you have this Book of Mormon and this stuff that in your head that you can't go to that place because you have a blockade that, it was sad, but I respected my family. I respected my parents, and me and my brother just said, okay, we're going to go out and do rock and roll in LA. And we moved out here, and we were playing clubs everywhere. We were going to these places in Wyoming. We did this tour. Like, okay, we're going to 5 cities, and we planned it. We had a guy book it. We'd go into these places like Carter, Wyoming. We get into town, and it says on the sign, population 30. We're like, what
Wow.
the hell? How are they going to pay us $2,000 for the night if 30 people are coming to the club? But literally, when we're setting up our equipment over the hill, these lights, we just one road into town, and we just see these lights coming. It's like a parade almost of lights coming towards this club, and we're like, Oil Town. That was the only club. It was where you got gas. It's where you got night crawlers to go fishing. And then they had a club.
Wow.
And we were playing that, and it's like, God, what a weird place to play. But it was probably one of my favorite gigs. And Carter, Wyoming is still there. And the population is still like 30, 32 maybe now. It's just like, wow, how do they survive? I'd like to do a documentary on that city.
Seriously. Sounds really interesting. So tell me a crazy client story, or tell me a story that won't get you in trouble, but like some funny, like...
I hope he doesn't hear this, because he looks for all kinds of social media stuff.
Oh, no. Well, I don't want to get you in trouble, dude.
This guy lives up north of here, I'll say.
Okay.
And he just happened to hire me shortly after I was teaching at the time. I'd done quite a few gigs, but he just thought, oh, wow, I can get this guy for cheap because he's not making much on the teacher thing, and he's doing a lot of this in between or even in between his classes. So I can get him to edit this stuff, and I don't even have to get an Avid. He has access to them. So I started doing his thing, and he came over to my house because I always had a system at home, always.
Mm-hmm.
Usually better than the places I worked. But so this guy comes over, and he was so passionate about his movie, but it was a movie that had already been done. As soon as he pitched it to me, I'm like, oh. But he had a budget, and he was working with big-name scientists. And I'm like, this could be cool on my resume for sure, and he's paying me, so... why not? But it was a documentary, and Al Gore had already done something similar. And you probably know the movie I'm talking about. But yeah, so he's doing it on global warming, and I'm like, well, that's noble and it's cool. And the scientists were like mostly saying it's happening for sure. And so it's like, how can you not know that it's happening for sure? But then he'd spice it up with these guys that were, he actually had, it wasn't Elon Musk, it was somebody working for Elon Musk, but he had his car on there before it was even out. And he's like, here's a guy that's, but anyway, he's passionate behind me, like, no, cut there, and no, it needs to be like this. And I'm like, this is a guy that's edited before, and this kind of sucks. Because everything was like, no, don't use that. And it's like my better judgment meant nothing. I was just like a robot just doing what he thought would work.
Right.
But when he'd leave, I'd like put everything, like smooth it all up, and he'd come back the next day and think that that's what he did. And I'm like, no, I spent hours taking pops and and I hate when you're watching a documentary and the guy's like, and you're just like going, God, why didn't they cut that out? They obviously edited it, but they just like, are they trying to make this guy look dumb, which you don't want to do, right? But whatever, it was a long process, and then I got digital editor, and I'm like, well, isn't that what you are? A digital editor? But I got paid for it, and I wish the guy luck, but he didn't go further from that as far as I know, and didn't ever do another movie. And it came out, but he had a guy recut it, and I could tell he did it on Final Cut because everything was Final Cut. Every transition's like, oh, that's the easy one to drop on there. But I'm like going, it's okay movie, and I'd watch it, but it didn't draw you in, and that's what you want. You want people to go, what do I think about this? And, to really embrace it. And I don't think he got that. But, yeah, when it comes to the scary editing stories, I have just as many when it comes to music, because a lot of the clubs we played, geez, just over the years, and it's like, well, this is what you got to do to make it. So I just kept going, kept plugging away at the music, because I love music. I love writing, and then being on stage. There's no drug in the world that's as good as when you're killing it and you're on stage.
So true, man. And it's about the bass for you.
Right. Bass, and I sometimes sing every once in a while, but not as much. Did you play?
I dabble, yeah.
Oh,
I dabble.
guitar?
I did, yeah. I play like a little bit of everything, but I never was in a band that went and played anywhere. But except like a ninth grade graduation, I was in 10th grade. My friends were in ninth grade, and we played like a little ceremony.
Oh,
and we played a song from Duran Duran.
that's cool. And you were a guitar.
I was a bass. I played bass on
bass.
that. I played
Okay.
bass on that. Yep.
That's some hard bass to play.
Yeah, it was actually. It was a pretty good line. Yeah, it was from Save a Prayer. That
Oh.
song, Save a Prayer.
God, he was good.
Yeah, John Taylor.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the music thing, yeah, the clubs we'd play there were really scary in Salt Lake. Like we played the Utah Mafia, the Salt Lake City Mafia had this club called the Down Under, and they loved us, so we'd play there a lot. But,
Now, when you say, I've been through Utah.
Mhm.
I just have never been to Salt Lake City,
it's
and it's there's like a dark side to the city, or like would you say a
I
little
would say-
dingy, or
from living there, the dark side, but only if you live there. Unless you're afraid of the Mormon church, because every friend I'd taken there skiing or whatever we do there, always notice right away, yeah, there's something weird in this town. And it's like, yep, it's the people. And for better or worse, because people are way more friendly. I could make friends instantly there. Just go to a club and start talking to people and dance with them. And, so we're going to your house after this? It's like, and they hear you do that. It's like, I don't know, this guy seems weird. I don't know if I want him in my house. But there it's like, who cares? We got to continue the party. So that I love about the place. Even some of my old grade school and junior high friends, it's like I end up partying with them there, and it's like, dude, this is an oasis to party in, but where do you go from there? Because you couldn't make it in music there. You definitely couldn't make it in movies there. It's like, I got to go somewhere where I can create. But, the dark side is just the discrimination that the people that, the dominant people there do not like anything different or something that's walking on their territory. You almost feel like the Mormon church is kind of a mafioso thing going on. So,
like if they let you in or they don't let you in.
exactly.
Yeah.
And I could make friends with them too, because I know all their scriptures, and my dad was a bishop, and your dad was a bishop? All right, you're in.
Yeah, that's some serious clout to be able to throw that around.
Right. But what I found from looking at a lot of documentaries, there's a heroin problem going on there, and I think the Mormons have a lot to do with it. It's big because they're on the crossroads of the United States. So there's a road that comes in from the east and one that comes in from the west,
Yeah.
and one that goes north, one that goes south.
Sure.
They're covered, man. It's like, and I'm not going to step on anyone's religion or anything, but I really think they have something going on with the heroin, because I have more friends and friends' daughters and, their sons and stuff that have been affected by it. There's nothing to do there, so you either party, go rock and roll, whatever. You got to find something to do if you're a kid there, and a lot of them turned to heroin.
Probably start with the little smoking it or snorting it. And
Yeah, and I never got into it. I'm not a downer type person. I can't go the downer stuff.
Same. Yeah, I've never tried that shit. Never even tried cocaine, to be honest with you.
Yeah, the closest I got to that was chasing the dragon, which was smoking it one night, and I went, "Yep, that's not my drug."
Well, heroin.
Yeah,
and it's like wow, right? It's just like
in my eyes, it ruined the night because we were seeing a band, and it's like we were more worried about going back to the room than watching the band. And I'm like, dude, I came all this way to see this band, and all right, whatever, And it's like that ruined my night, really. It's like after that, I'm like, all right, at least I'm with my friends. So, but yeah, I've tried a lot, but I haven't stuck. There's very few drugs that I've stuck with.
Yeah. I occasionally like to throw back a couple of good, like high-powered beers. Like a real hoppy beer that's like 7.5% or whatever. Like a couple of those, and that's nice.
Yeah. It's those Brewers, the Brewer friends and stuff. There's a guy I know that he used to play in a band. He was a keyboardist for a band called Zookeeper's Palace, and they kind of disbanded. I think they're still going, but without him. And he started a brewery out in Palmdale, and it's a killer brewery. I haven't been there yet, but just looking at it on Facebook and all the people that go there from the area, and he's named beers after people's songs and stuff, friends of his and stuff. And I'm like, God, it's so cool. And he's making good bank right now. He's kind of been slowed down by the COVID thing, but he's slowly getting back up and going. He's going to have bands there now. And I'm like, God, that'd be a cool drive. I'd have to stay there because I wouldn't want to drive back on the 14 all schnockered up.
Are you familiar with McLeod's?
McLeod.
It's a Van Nuys brewery.
No.
It's hidden in a like a business park just down by Oxnard, sort of Burbank Boulevard, basically.
Wow.
And it's hidden in there. And this guy started as just a brewery that he sells his stuff, he cans it and stuff. But they also have quite a setup now. They opened up their parking lot to make it all tables and stuff.
Oh, cool.
It is the coolest place, and it's
McLeod's.
McLeod's, McLeods, McLeods, like spelled like the Scottish way,
Oh, nice.
And they're on Calvert, on the street called Calvert. I go there quite frequently and have a beer called Deal with the Devil. It's the name of it, and it's really good. They have delicious pizza, and they've been adding stuff to their menu,
nice.
And so it's a little pricey, like a pint. It's like $8 or something. But
that's not bad.
I mean, it's really good. It's really good stuff. I highly recommend the place. Yeah,
I'll remember that. Some of the coolest places like right down the street. It's like, wow, I've lived here 7 years and never been here. Oh my God, what an idiot. This place is great, but yeah, you said it's hidden.
You just have to know where it is.
Yeah,
and I luckily
cool. I'll definitely go there.
Yeah. So your wife, where'd you meet your wife? Is she come from Utah with you?
No, she's actually originally from Hawaii, which is cool.
Oh, cool.
I was basically on one of those way before the internet. They weren't BBSs. They were after that through LA Weekly. At the back, they had these ads. And I'd meet girls in bars and on the street or whatever, doing whatever. And
right.
They just never was like, could I allow my baby or can I trust this person? It was usually no, but she's really fun to party with. And so I went through the ringer on LA Weekly, and this is when the band was playing quite a bit. And I was done with it. And then the last person I went out with, I met her down on 4th Street Promenade at a Starbucks. And we said, okay, we're just going to buy our own coffee. We're going to walk in, say hi, see what happens. If chemistry doesn't happen, it's like, see you. And it was all planned. I mean, we'd talked like a month before that on the phone. Said, we know each other enough that, we know that we don't want to waste time. And if it's cool, it's cool. If it's not, it's not. And when she first walked in, I'm like, is that her in a leather jacket? Huh. wow, she looks good. She had a flower, I think, in her hair, and I was just like, well, this is different for me. You know, you're having these conversations in your head. She goes and buys her own coffee, and she knew it was me. She just sat down because I said, I'll be in black leather, black hat. You know, you'll know. You know, long hair. Only one in there even close to that. So she kind of walked by me like she didn't see me, but she I knew she saw me. And then from that point on, it was like, wow, I feel like I've been like talking with my best friend, and we walked down the promenade, and she had these little tricks where she called this friend, like, you know, she was really calling her to go, I'm safe. No, you don't have to come and get me. And no, we don't have plans where we're going to meet somewhere, because she was just ready. But when she called her, she was just saying, I'm good, really. And I read through it really quick, like, okay, I know she's doing this. And I called her on, I'm like, yeah, I'm safe. No, he's not a serial killer. No, you're cool. And she's like, oh my God, he figured me out. So yeah, it was a good day, you know, and a whole day. We planned on it being an hour, and it ended up a whole day. So, and that's what a good relationship is where you don't have to try.
Yeah.
You know, it just happens. And I keep telling all my single friends that, and they're like, but no one is that person. And I'm like, well, stop looking, and then you'll find it. I guarantee, because that's what I started doing. And like, I'm done. This is it. This is the last one. You know, and I didn't plan on it. I didn't even know if I'd be married. I was like, okay, the band is, I don't know if the band's still going on or not, but it'd be cool to have a girlfriend right now. You know, so, but
And she's originally from Hawaii?
yeah, she's Filipino, but she lived on the island before it was a state.
Oh, no kidding. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
So, her mom, born and raised in Maui.
Oh, awesome.
So, and her dad was a welder for the Army. So, you know, perfect place to be for it. So,
Yeah, very cool.
yeah, so it's cool going there because family, and I get to go to the places where Hallies aren't allowed.
Yeah.
It's like backstage in Hawaii.
Yeah. Yeah, I lived there between the ages of 9 and 11 with my uncle. I lived on Oahu, up
Nice.
near North Shore, and I lived on the Big Island on the Hilo side.
Oh, that's
And
great.
then like on my 11th birthday, I came back to San Diego. But it was cool. It
So
was
you're there how many years?
just under 2 years.
Ah, that'd be a cream dream.
It was pretty great. I mean, I liked running around barefoot. We had on Oahu, we had a house that was right on the beach. Like, just couldn't have been more of a
Nice.
paradise situation.
And you said North Shore.
Near the North Shore, yeah. It was
Oh,
south.
jeez.
It wasn't a lot of waves or anything. It was like south of that. It was like it was actually in this pretty nice area where there was a reef. So it was fairly shallow for like almost half a mile. And then
You
then
said south, so it was like by Chinaman's Cap? Or?
It was south of Hauula. It was Punaluu is where it was called, Punaluu, which is like, I'd say, halfway between Kaneohe and North Shore, like kind of basically.
Okay.
Patsapunaluu is a famous resort that's right there called Patsapunaluu. Anyway,
Nice. Yeah, I like the North Shore a lot.
and being a haole boy, especially in an area where it wasn't very, there wasn't a lot of haole boys around there. You had to people would wanted to test your mettle and they really wanted to see if you could fight. Like that was kind of right away.
Wow.
And
Against a Samoan or something, you're...
well, no, I would actually. Those were my homies right there. The Samoans would
nice.
protected me a little bit. They looked
cool.
after me.
Nice.
I had a couple big dudes who were like, "You're gonna leave Haole Boy alone?" I'm like,
Nice.
"Great, thank you, thanks, bro."
Yeah.
It was a good time. It was a good time overall.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's... I like stuff like that. Like, the best my parents did is let us stay on a ranch for over the summer. We didn't know they planned all these vacations and stuff. It's like, yeah, let's just put them on a ranch. We thought the ranch was cool, and we got right along with these guys. We loved doing all the stuff, and they were showing us how to milk cows, and now we're gonna learn how to rope a cow. And it's like they had these games at night. And I love that when we were there all summer. Getting away for 2 years somewhere, that'd be great.
It was pretty
Especially
cool.
Hawaii.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
And Hilo's cool. I like the Big Island because you can go around it and it's like 4 seasons.
Totally.
It's like, the beautiful Hilo, and just north of there, it's like all the tropical birds and stuff and waterfalls. And then you get into Texas and, the Paniololos, is that what they're called? They're the Hawaiian cowboys on the north of the Big Island.
Oh yeah, what are they called? I can't remember.
Paniololos.
Paniolo.
Something
Okay.
like that.
Yeah. Okay.
And then I love Kona. I
Yeah.
love the Kona area just for the waves and the coffee. And
Yeah. Yeah. It's a great island. I like that island.
Yeah.
We went for Christmas about 4 or 5 years ago. We went with
Yeah.
family for Christmas. It's pretty great.
That's great. We're doing a 2-week this year there in October. So we're hoping, God, get rid of the COVID stuff. But at least they're like we are here in California. Regardless of what people say, we're low on our numbers right now.
Right.
And it's really all the, tough love stuff going, wear your mask. People can't work. It's like, that's what saved us here, really.
For sure. So what are you working on now?
I kind of wanted to get money before I kept working on Monster in Your Head, but Monster in Your Head is the best I can do at the moment, and I learned to fly drones and all kinds of stuff to get the shots I needed. I had guys with me that knew how to do it even better than me, but I took a lot of shots from me and him, and it's like I learned a lot of traits by doing the movie, because it's like, can I hire this guy? You know what? I can storyboard. And I learned to storyboard myself. Didn't want to do it, but I'm like, I'm only going to get the shots I really want if I do it myself. So storyboarding was cool. I got all the pictures for the storyboards off of the internet. I'd just go, guy on the ground facing up. Oh, that'll work. So I literally just cut these pictures from the internet into my storyboard.
So smart.
The angles and you can get anything you want on the internet.
So smart.
And so, yeah, it was easy because it was either that or draw stick figures, and my stick figures looked horrible. What's that? A snail? No, that's the guy's head. So yeah, I learned that, and I learned, just all the different traits that I'm an editor. I'm a solid editor, but I like to direct. And I like to shoot sometimes, and I get angles with different cameras that I have, and it's like I'm always shooting regardless of what my job is. So get that, little GoPro, stick it up in a corner that no one knows it's there, and it's like, oh, perfect.
We're the same. We think alike, dude. Yeah. I'm exactly the same. I have a DJI Pro. It's like a GoPro, but it's nice, and
I keep buying equipment, buying stuff, and learning it. Just like whatever, it could help me with something down the line. And I got a lot of stuff I haven't used. I even bought a Black Magic camera that I pull something from it every once in a while, but very rare.
Same.
I like that it shoots to a disc that's like, it's a terabyte,
Same. Yeah, I have the same camera, and it fits my Canon lenses. So,
nice.
like, I don't have to get new lenses, and it's batteries as well. It takes the Canon size. So,
yeah, easy to charge, it's just, what do I want to set up for this? Is it worth doing all that?
Yeah.
Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. So what I'm working on now is I got Monster in Your Head at a lot of different film festivals. So I'm hoping, the end isn't there, and I knew the end wasn't there, but it's like, it's got to perk interest, because everyone that's watched it's like, so where's the next part? And it's like, exactly.
Yeah.
What happens now? And I'm just like, well, what might happen?
That's a question I want to hear. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's, I hope to see it at some film festivals at least. I've entered as many as I've entered places I want to go on vacation. It's like, oh, I'll go to Spain. Oh, yeah, I'll go to Tribeca.
Yeah.
So let's hope those ones come through. I'm going to try and go into Sundance, but Sundance gets oversaturated with people making stuff, and has to be really good to and in my eyes, what I've done's like mediocre, maybe a little higher than mediocre. I like the images I got, but the story can be a lot stronger. So.
Well, I mean, you're always trying to do better and always looking at some. For me, it's never finished. It's like, man, okay, I would do this differently, or if I had a chance, I would reshoot that. Like, but you can't, so you just gotta let it go. You know?
It's just like writing songs. It's like at one point you can't write another. Well, let's put in another bridge there. It'd be really cool to go really low. It's like it's done. Move on to something new and do whatever's in your head on that new thing. Because you could sit and do a movie forever. It's like, oh yeah, I'll use this girl instead. And it's like at one point there's a lot of movies made about making a movie. And they're hilarious because you've been there like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was the movie I made with my friends. It's a mockumentary about the making of a documentary.
Yeah, right. Yeah. What's the name of it? I'd like to see that.
Fell, Jumped, or Pushed. I'll send you a link.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, right away. Yeah, it's 88 minutes of intriguing
and that's
confusion.
Feature length.
Feature length. Yeah. We did this a few years back, and
Cool. I'd like to see it.
There's a few actors in it that my friend Todd, went to school with, who are all. It's improv based. I mean, sort of. So a lot of this banter that happens in this movie is just off the cuff.
Oh, nice.
And it really sounds natural. It does not. You know what I mean? So
nice.
And they have a way of like suckering you in to be like, wow, I'm watching. Oh wait, oh fuck, this is fake. Yeah,
that's perfect.
Yeah, so
it's like Spinal Tap. That's
yep.
Because they did a lot of improv on that, and it's like the improv are all the things I like the most about it. So
it's for sure an homage to them,
cool.
to those filmmakers. Yeah,
cool,
100%.
Yeah.
Well, dude,
definitely want to see it.
This has been great. Cool. I really appreciate you coming by. I think we had a great chat.
Of course, yeah.
And
I really like your podcast. I'm gonna have a lot of friends listen to this because you learn stuff from people you didn't know.
Exactly.
It's like, whoa, like the Stuttering John one that really stuck out in my head. And I'm like, I gotta listen to the rest of this.
Fantastic.
Which I'll still do.
Awesome. I appreciate that. Yeah, there's like I got 20 or something. Yeah, 20 or so.
Nice.
Anyway, Kurt, thanks again, and let's stay in touch.
Cheers.
Well, that was Kurt Mason, everybody. Had a great time talking to him. That's a solid dude right there. Hopefully I'm going to get out, play some golf with him, do something soon. Maybe we'll have a beer at that place I was talking about. So thanks again for tuning in, and if you want to send me an email, you can do it through my direct mail. It's not like I have 10,000 listeners here or anything, so no stalkers as of yet. If you want to be the first one, hit me up at matthew.gossin@gmail.com. Editormatthew.com is my home base. That's where you can find everything about me and what I do. Thanks for making it this far, everybody. Ciao for now.